It's interesting because in Denmark, there's a little pizza shop producing pizzas. It was actually about 15 years ago. This little pizza shop said, we can't afford the Yellow Pages ads anymore. They had a budget, the total global marketing budget of $3,000. They couldn't afford them. So they said, what can we do to think creative? What they did was they did a very untraditional way of marketing. They actually went in to the radio station and said, we want to run an ad. And the ad should say the following thing. Dear consumer, come into us with all the pages from Yellow Pages from the pizza section. Rip them out. Go into us. We'll give you a free pizza in return. And a little sticker you can put next to your phone with a phone number to us. It took exactly 3 months and there was no pizza shops around anymore, except this little pizza shop, which is now the largest in Northern Europe. It's kind of interesting, isn't it? But it shows everything about how you can think different. The future of branding is going to be sensory branding. We're going to appeal to our senses in a much more strategic way. If you take Mercedes-Benz alone, they have 12 engineers working full-time on closing and opening a door. I know it's German people, right? But still, right? I think it's fascinating to see that if you take a bank like Barclays Bank, in the UK, they actually started to brew coffee in the banks to make people feel at home. I wish that National Australia Bank would do the same. But I can tell you one thing, people actually felt at home in a bank, which I think is kind of unusual. I think it's fascinating to see that 75% of all our feelings emotionally are created by what we smell. Not by what we see, not by what we hear, but by what we smell. How many of you have tried to walk on the street, you suddenly have this smell passing by you, and it takes you 20 years back in time? Some of you have tried it? Yes. Can you imagine we can associate that with a brand? You actually can. And that's what I think is sensory branding. I'll just give you an example. Singapore Airlines have something called Stefan Floridian Waters. It's a special smell on the hot towels. How many of you have been flying Singapore Airlines? Up with your hand. You don't like it or what? You all fly for Qantas? Okay. Singapore Airlines have this special unique smell on the hot towels, which is exotic, romantic, and Asian. They are branding it in such a strong way that people immediately associate that they feel at home when they're back in the aircraft. Even the girls have a special makeup manual, which are following the color palette from the corporate colors in Singapore Airlines. So they're following the logo colors in the makeup they're wearing. Qantas has just done the same right now. But it's interesting to see you actually are controlling other senses. I just want to ask, how many of you would say when you buy a new car, that the smell of this new car it has to be there, or else it's not a new car? Raise your hand. Michael, I had to ask you about that smell. Tell me about that smell. Can I get the microphone on, please? What's that smell like?
Your leather, fresh, new.
Is it good? Is it important?
It is important. Although there are other factors taken into consideration.
I hope so. Nice car, smells beautiful. I can't drive, but Michael, I'm sorry to tell you that you've been treated badly recently because the smell of a new car doesn't exist. It's an artificial smell which has been created. Actually, right now we can see from the test we're doing that if we really had the real leather smell in the cars, people wouldn't like it because we artificially been over the last 15 years turned in a certain direction where we don't like the real smell. Therefore, every smell in every new car today is artificially added to the car to make you feel at home in your new car.